Yeah, I'm gonna make a little video here. This is I've had these lasers like this right here. I have two of them. One of them facing the drums, more so on me and the drums when I'm making videos. And I just turned this one around. I had the other one facing a different direction towards the chimney, but it's now facing the sliding glass doors right there. And I'm trying to get it in the perfect position for like when I use the fractal, the kaleidoscope fractal graphics that you've seen before. But this is, you know, like I have two of what you're seeing right there, and it's really the first time I actually put it at that position going that way. But it covers, it does quite a bit of coverage here. It depends on the sequence and how, but you can see it's like all the way up in the ceiling. Pretty much, I mean, pretty much, you know, like maybe 2 feet in front of it. I mean, all the way up to the top to the cathedral, all around. It gets more intense in its direction, but I mean, it's like it covers like everything around the entire room. About pretty close to 1.5 feet, maybe 18 inches, and I mean, it's like a straight shot all the way, straight up, all the way around the room. Straight ahead. That's what it looks like right there. It's pretty cool. And the light that I'm waiting on now, I mean, it is like I mean, it is, you know, I have seriously some very, very good lighting for real, and truthfully so. And I have another one. It's probably the most expensive one out of them all that I've gotten. It has 256 different patterns and sequences and colors. It has the red, blue, and green, but combined when it's mixed in the lighting, the way sometimes the light mixes, it's like a pink and a purple. And I think somehow every now and then, I'm not sure what the deal is. I think even the green and somehow it's like a blue. I mean, it's somewhere in between a violet and a blue kind of. Yeah, but I mean, yeah, this is I'm trying to, you know, I've been testing different settings for lighting. Actually, I'm fixing to maybe hook up my my signal processors. I have like 2 signal processors for my vocals. I actually have the harmonic. I mean, it's like, I think it's like a 5-octave harmonic that has a scale between the actual notes in the harmonic. It automatically does it, but I think it's a total of like I can program it to like 5 different octaves for harmony when singing, and different sound effects. And I was getting into that, but I still have the Behringer. I got a new one. I sent the other one back, but I have a brand new one. I hadn't even used it yet. I've kept it locked up, and it is the Behringer DEQ 2496 signal processor. It's got like a limiter or expander or compressor, parametric waveform for actually customizing, you know, the waveform, a spectrum analyzer, a EQ. It has I think there's other effects combined. I mean, it's like a, I don't know, I think it's probably about a 7 or 8, maybe even a 10-in-1 signal processor. But you know, like the EQ and the spectrum analyzer, I don't really consider that really a signal processor, other than a display for like metering the intensity of frequencies and you know, just more like, it's more like a meter, not necessarily a signal processor, you know, displaying the results of the signal processor. But yeah, it's probably about a 6 or 7, maybe even an 8 or 9. You know, I really hadn't counted how many signal processors are actually combined in it. It's really a seriously high-tech, I mean, it's like a really high-tech multi-effect signal processor. And when I actually was doing that with my, I have a Boss, I think it's a V20 is what it's called, a harmonizer signal processor specifically designed for vocals. And I used it, and when I was hooking both of them up at the same time, I just was not getting the sound. And you know, I was thinking that when I got that Behringer DEQ 2496 multi-effects signal processor, I mean, I thought it was going to be like, just like a quick touch, bam, 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 and it's like, where I wanted at. But it wasn't really that at all, and it got really, to what pretty much any signal processing, whether it's like a combined, all-in-one type of signal processing, or an attachment through connectivity. Pretty much, I mean, it's always pretty much a demanded standard to have a limiter, expander, and compressor to actually control and compress and expand. It expands the weak signals, or the high frequencies that doesn't sound quite as loud when maybe it should. It'll pick that up and like boost it and expand it and intensify it. When it's too high or too loud, or the frequency is like too strong, and it'll actually compress it. And there's like a boundary that it keeps it within, like a boundary. And if it's too much, if it's like a cyclically signal processing feature, and it actually exceeds beyond that, it will actually clip it, and then it will compress it, and it will automatically bend the wave, and it will compress it, and it will sound, so compressed. It sounds really good. It's just like an automatic deal to have the limiter, expander, and compressor, with any signal processing, unless it's already built in, and it's like an automatic feature that's already, programmed. And most people really don't like it that way, but, some may do that. I'm not real sure, but everyone I've ever known involved with it, it's like a manual customized issue. That's just like an automatic deal. Anyway, so, like I was getting some signal processing going beyond the boundaries, and it was getting into like, some like geniuses that are involved with like psychoacoustics that go beyond. It's almost like a three-dimensional type of a sound, and it's like you gotta be like anyone involved with that type of like psychoacoustics. You gotta be virtually, an extremely experienced, sound engineer to get into that psychoacoustic that goes beyond and actually make it work to where it just like, it's almost euphoric when just listening to the sound alone. Truthfully, it's like seriously like affects the, it's like really wild. It's kind of like really a real effect for real. In every way. It's kind of like, wow, like did I just like leave the bar kind of like thing? It's like, no, maybe you might maybe turn the volume down a little bit kind of thing. That's how serious that psychoacoustic stuff is with that sound. And really, it's kind of like it really is kind of euphoric, really, but for real. And anyone that doesn't like have experience with that, it will sound extremely terrible. It takes probably years to like perfect it within seconds, minutes maybe at the most. And I didn't feel like and I was like working on that, setting it up, and I just didn't feel like continually have to struggle. I know it has like default settings, factory default settings, and automatically I was setting it, but it just wasn't like resetting like I should. I didn't feel like reading the entire, and I'm going to, and really the information I was looking for with the Behringer DEQ 2496, it wasn't there. And there's some information about some, I'm looking at the structure of like the bits per second being like a 24-bit standard. It's not the only, but it's like almost a standard. And I'm not sure whose standard or what application. It's just like it's there, okay? But I know that there's like more than just the 24 bits per second. And ultimately, it leads people to believe that 96 is somewhere within a tolerant range of absolute standard to the 96. And the increments is like 24, 48. And immediately, there's really some seriously cross-converting mathematics in the signal processing that normally would be like 24 bits all the way to 192 bits per second in frequency. I think it's the same, but the way this particular multi-effects signal processor is set up, it's like it's a combination, and it's like it's cross-referencing the signal processing in the increments. From like 24 to 96 would automatically be normally like a bits per second issue, or a frequency. I think it's somewhere in between. I'm not sure if it's a megahertz or a kilohertz or a mega kilohertz. I'm not really real sure about the hertz part about the frequencies, but I know that they're both incremented and like a standard within itself. But I was looking at the signal processor, and immediately, I noticed the increments of like 24, 48, and 96. Let's see, 24, 48, 48, I think it's 17, then 96, or whatever the case is. 24 like 4 times. I mean, immediately I just like noticed that, and I immediately noticed the distinction between the bits per second, or the bytes per second, or whatever, and the converting mathematics. I'm looking at it, so I said, that was the first thing I noticed. I said, that's like a cross-referenced combination of like increments that normally wouldn't be that way. I mean, it was just something that just really, it looked like it was like really getting into a part of the signal processing that, like, that was using conversion type of mathematics involving signal processing that actually combines in something like in a, it's like I'm like getting into the three-dimensional like side that's normally like beyond like a real serious, like a really like the best equalizer I've ever had was it wasn't an in-dash, but it was like a mounted Clarion 200 watt signal process. I mean equalizer, and I mean it was the best one I had seen anywhere, and I had one, and it's like it had a multi-color effects digital readout display. I mean, it was like high tech. I mean, mega. To me now, what was then like, hey, the best thing then, I didn't even consider what would be like in my mind. Somewhere in my mind, it's like a two-dimensional isometric of 3D, two-dimensional isometric of like actual participation of three-dimensional. And really, that's kind of like what the calculus is in the algorithm. When it gets kind of like at the verge of like, it's almost like leaving the atmosphere, right, into space. It gets into like, something that like normal people, unless they like really excel into the genius part about it with the algorithm. It's kind of like the algorithm is like the entrance exam, leaving the calculus and getting into the sigma alpha delta phi thing, that sorority thing of like audio production and signal processing and all those formats of different structures of like mathematics and scientific notation, really truthfully beyond calculus. But and this signal processor here, I automatically like noticed, really it seems like it's going, I haven't like really done it, but it gets into that customizing the waveform, and I'm assuming that can actually be designated into the psychoacoustics of manufacturing and customizing and making the waveform. I've never done it before. I've known about it. I've seen it. It's not the idiot's fee of like me not knowing. Truthfully, not. I've never personally done it, but I'm gonna have to take my time, because the owner's manual and the instructions, even YouTube actually gets into it far beyond even what the owner's manual and the instructions that are like in the box. And already, like I'd made calls, and it's kind of like, man, you got to be kidding me. I mean, what, you don't have, it's kind of like I call Berger, it's kind of like, what are you trying to tell me? You don't even have an explanation. You got to be kidding me. Anyway, so like I started watching YouTube about a lot of stuff of that, and I learned quite a bit real quick about what I was looking for, as compared to like reading what normally I would find like in a matter maybe a minute, maybe two at the most, and like however many pages with instructions, and find it. But that wasn't happening, so I started calling them. But anyway, hopefully I'll get the combination set up between my vocal harmonics and my mic. I think I'm just going to use the harmonics and wait on the the multi effects, signal processing beyond the harmonics, and maybe work on that for a while, because really, when I had my headset on with my microphone, that what I normally would wear with my drums, I was getting an extremely, it's kind of like, it sounded like, like when we were in high school or something, you had the helium balloon thing, and you'd breathe it, and then you'd start talking, and you'd sound like a chipmunk. And I was getting that sound through my my microphone and my PA system. It's like really making me mad. It was making me extremely mad. You have no idea. I don't like that kind of crap. And because really I don't, I don't like not being in control, when really I know I am and should always be. So it's getting the sound, and that's why I sent it back. I got really seriously, extremely mad about it, amongst other things. So anyway, I'm going to give that a go here, and I'm going to decide maybe if I want to start maybe connecting my vocals directly to the PA system, like I was going to do. Like, it wouldn't have been normally a problem at all. And that's why I'm wanting that mixing board like now kind of thing. I have like maybe a third, truthfully, of what all my PA speakers can handle. And truthfully, seriously, really, I've only been using really one power amp, and it's rated at 3,000 watts, and I don't even have all my microphones hooked up, truthfully, at all. truthfully, none of my microphones are hooked up. I've tested them all with my drums, going through my both of my Yamaha EAD10s. I have like 14 microphones with 2 additional in each bass with the Yamaha EAD10 drum module signal processor for my drums alone. And each one of those have 2 microphones on the unit mounted on the hoop on each bass drum with the trigger. So that's like a total of 20 microphones. Truthfully so, truthfully not. And like 2 triggers on each bass, and I'm fixing to get another trigger for my snare. And that's why I'm going to get that mixing board, and it's like really kind of making me a little hot, because I'm kind of really kind of getting, kind of eager about getting it all hooked up, because I mean, I'm serious. I'm fixing, plus I'm fixing to crank up the and crank it up to at least, like if there's like a real like serious arena issue, with maybe a minimum, I hope maybe it will probably never be anything, when I was going to the Art Institute and I was doing certain like concerts around the Houston area in baseball and football and high school events and certain issues with sports and other issues, and I had went to the Wortham Theater in the Music Theater District with some of the instructors there. One of the guys that were there was a drummer as well as a audio production instructor, and I went with him to the Wortham Theater in the Music Theater District there in the Houston area. And I don't know, I mean, it looked like the Wortham Theater. I think it has probably close to maybe 1,000. I'm not real sure, but it's probably around anywhere from 1,000 to 1,500. And there was like the new theater. It was called the Smart Financials Theater for a while. It was named something else too. For a while, it was named something else. It's in Sugar Land when they were building that semi-pro baseball field at the same time, and they completed it. It was named something else, and it was like renamed to the Smart Financial Center. There was another, and I think that's around I think I haven't been there, but I think it's like around 2,000 seating capacity. But it's kind of like like the Summit. I mean, that was like Lakewood now. It's like pretty close, I think, to like 22,000. And seriously, really, that's really what I'm going to like really, just try and get into, and get in with all the executives, the governors, and all that, all the circuit and all that. And I'm really trying to get all this set up for presenting myself and actually finding the musicians that are looking, because I have spent years, I called like Air One, and really I chose Air One over like KSBJ for my own personal reason. But I talked, and I don't know what the deal is with the networking and accessing, like like a normal like musicians referral service involving like Christian, like progressive heavy metal, hard rock, a musician's referral service or anything like it. I mean, I haven't been able to. I called KSBJ and like Air One, 103.7 Christian FM radio, and it's kind of like, hey, what's going on, I can't even find like a real like musician's referral service. I mean, that's like going to like still stay on like lying on the internet with its own website. I mean, for real. I mean, what's going on? So I mean, I was looking for like the Christian musicians that were like seriously like Dream Theater. I mean, that's like, I mean, to me, as far as the sound and talent, like Dream Theater's like the the band and center. And now, truthfully, really, I categorize the Christian progressive band Effector. I mean, truthfully, I mean that level and standard is the Christian progressive saying. And truthfully, I mean, really, I mean, it's kind of like, what's the deal? I mean, what seems to be the deal with like actually like getting that to happen? And finally, something like the band Effector happened. But even that, somewhere like kind of like it's kind of hard to believe sometimes. You look at the way some things have happened. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, truthfully, so anyway, I'm trying to like really get set up to where I can really seriously, and this is a fairly decent. I mean, truthfully, I mean, really, as far as really everything I have right now, I mean, it's like really, I mean, probably at a third of the capacity of actually what I have like right now. And I mean, and it seriously cranks for real right now. I mean, it's like a third of it. And I mean, man, when I have all the microphones hooked up and everything connected, I mean, it's going to like be, I mean, it's going to probably be able to with real ease handle an auditorium or a stadium even that we'll see. Even Lakewood Church. I mean, I have enough power, and I'm even getting more power. I'm fixing to get another 10,000 watt power amp. I'm going to get 2 of them, and I have 2 3,000 watt power amps right now, but I'm going to like sell those, and I'm in the process of potentially getting it, and I probably will have it within the next this month. So I mean, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm fixing to like get 2 of those, at least 1 for now. This month, and maybe next month, maybe another one. I'd like to get that 32 channel mixing board and that Sony XR NX 100 digital video camcorder, because I mean, I most definitely, that is it as far as like it has all the connectivity. Seriously, for like live and live audio production, and even live editing, as well as editing itself and post production and all that. So I mean, it has all the connectivity that actually will do the video, and actually allow the connectivity to include the mixer, the signal processor with live production, as well as studio recording. And I have that 32 channel. I have a Porta Studio. It's a 32 channel. It's a 32 channel Porta Studio recording. I think it's a Tascam. I mean, I haven't even used it. I've had it. God, I've had it for quite some time now, and I'm trying to get to the point where I can like at least have the auditions to find the thing about what I'm really looking for in musicians, and like seriously get into some like original music. And I'm trying to finish my standard reference portfolio for my music video, and I put most of it up there. But the thing with it is that like when I started uploading it, there was all those technical issues that were like kind of like not cool at all. And I don't want to hear a complaint by anybody. It's not really copying. It's not really a breach of copyright. It's really not. I mean, it's not for sale. I mean, it's their music. But the thing with this, really, I mean, I can see, people that talk about the copyrights and trademarks and all that, and royalties and all the, stuff about it. But the thing with this is, I don't see how any band that like is like getting like an extremely good band that like compliments. I mean, I don't even like calling it copying, but it's just, to me, it's just a standard reference. Is a demanded standard, and all the stuff that I play, it really is like my personal demanded standard. Truthfully, like when I have auditions, that's why I'm making this and putting it on YouTube. I'm gonna like probably like erase everything I've already put on there, and like redo the whole thing again until like I have the perfect quality and processing speed, and so there won't be any like data processing and issues with that's going to like deviate, other than like what I'm really involved with, not some Wi-Fi manager or some like person that's like trying to like crash the scene before it's like kicking into gear kind of thing. So I mean I've already like made calls, and I'm like already like not so thrilled about thinking there's going to be some contesting issue that because really I don't want to hear a complaint, because really I mean guaranteed, I mean I'm not about getting a complaint about using that stuff for like a standard reference. I mean I can understand it happening, maybe, I mean if someone's just like doing it and putting it on there when maybe maybe they like should practice for like maybe another 5 years before they try to but anyway, yeah, so whatever, so I can get into the original music and like get back into finishing. Actually I wrote like 13 songs, and some of them, most of them are not finished, but I already know what they are going to be. And when I was writing them, I mean I really wasn't in like the greatest mindset at the time, and I mean a lot of I've rewritten it and like changed a lot of the words when I actually started writing them, because I mean where I was at and what was going on, I mean just wasn't like my thoughts of what I the way I normally am, so I've changed a lot of words and all that, as far as like maintaining some like degree level of perspective is like a social thing, and degree thing, and a value thing that's like not the antisocial issue, so yeah, so I've done that, and yeah, so anyway, so I'm wanting to get back into that and like really get it to where it's like actually I'm going to combine quite a bit of like laws and codes and color codes, and between electronics and even the law library, or even beyond that, and actually go beyond, like, cross-referencing that. In my mind, the format, like, between even, like, Christianity and the Bible itself, or even law. I mean, it's like the format. I mean, when you recognize just the format alone between, like, codes that are, like, cross-referenced so very many times. I mean, even being able to know what it means. I mean, like, when headquarters are really involved with it, it's like, you got to be kidding me, I mean, whatever, for real, but really not whatever for real too, But anyway, it's kind of, where does that really happen at, right? Well, although my computer literate toilet paper is, met the requirements of the vocabulary. Oh yeah, man, my, although my ass is schematic thing, yeah, on the Halo venue, yeah. Yes, it's true. I've met the requirements of the vocabulary. Yes, I have. Anyway, yeah. Talk to you later.